It says, identify the following as a physical or chemical change. If you haven't watched the previous question about physical or chemical properties, that would be a good idea because these are basically the same thing. The difference is how it's worded. So in this case, it says propane is burned, and ask if it's a physical chemical change. In the other case, it would say propane is flammable. So that would be a physical or chemical property. Well, when propane is burned, propane is C3H8, it's burned in the presence of oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide and water. So we turn the propane, C3H8, into carbon dioxide and water in the presence of oxygen. That's a chemical change. It's not propane anymore. So this is a chemical change. The next one is we have 3 hydrogen plus nitrogen forms ammonia. This is a very important industrial reaction. This is a chemical reaction. This is clearly depicting the change. First, we had hydrogen bonded to hydrogen, and we had nitrogen bonded to nitrogen. After the reaction, we now have nitrogen bonded to 3 hydrogens. So therefore, this is definitely a chemical change. And chemical reactions are the way we depict chemical changes. Note that sometimes phase changes can be depicted as something that looks like a chemical reaction, but that's a phase change and it's not really a reaction. Water boils. So here's an example of that. We have H2O as a liquid forming into H2O as a gas. In this case, we have something that looks right like a chemical reaction. It has reactants, it has products, it has an arrow, it has states of matter, so on and so forth. But if we notice here we have H2O on the reactant side, and here we have H2O on the product side. There's no change in how hydrogen and oxygen are bonded to each other. It's still an oxygen bonded to 2 hydrogens on both sides. So therefore, this is a physical change because we did not change the arrangement of the atoms. Here we had hydrogen and nitrogen, hydrogen H2 and nitrogen N2. Here we have nitrogen bonded to hydrogen. We changed the arrangement of atoms. That's a chemical change. Simply changing the state of matter is a physical change. And this is true of all states of matter, state changes. So boiling, melting, freezing, subliming, you name it, all of these things are physical changes.